Dragon Dreamers, Gina Virginia Casella here. Welcome to Story Species, Story Medicine. When we share our stories, we give and receive medicine. One of the best ways to heal is with the earth, and that's exactly what we do with each other right here on Story Species, Story Medicine. Ready to take your medicine?
Hi, Dragon Dreamers. How are you doing? Gina Virginia Casella here. It's so good to be back with you. Love spending Mondays with you. Quick announcement, 2026 Story Species, Story Medicine. We're going to be going live on Tuesdays, and I'll tell you all about that in my post to come in Buy Me a Coffee. So check out Buy Me a Coffee, GinaVirginiaCasella.com. Discover, learn all about me. I would absolutely love if you registered for my free Facebook group, the Dragon Dream Soul Tribe Collective, and I would adore if you registered for one of my programs. Today on Story Species, Story Medicine, I have a very special guest with us, and I've got my notes here ready. If you're like me and looking to level up, check out StreamYard. All right, I'll bring Michael to the stage in just a moment here. Let me read his biography for you first. Michael is a returning guest, by the way, and I had the pleasure of meeting Michael at the Full Disclosure Now conference in Florida just this past summer, 2024. Michael Kopf is a metaphysical paranormal investigator, author, and podcaster. And this is his third book, by the way. So today we're going to spend a little extra time with books 2 and 3. Make sure you catch the first one. We dove into book 1. And Michael's book is an ongoing series about his awakening journey. And so each book starts like that, my awakening journey, and then we learn a little bit more, whatever the theme of the book is. So Michael has always had paranormal experiences. He's grown up with them. He's also overcome many hardships growing up. Michael is very relatable. He does not want others to feel the feelings that he felt growing up, things that we can all relate to. And we talked about that when Michael was here the first time. Sense of belonging, being the confused warrior, things that all of us can relate to in the hero's journey that we all share. And what led him to this path was relating and experiencing his experiences with others. He's had all kinds of experiences that he can't explain. For example, when he was in Egypt, he was talking with ancient Egyptian gods and goddesses, and these are coming through to him in his dreams, bridging his waking life and his real life. He's extraordinarily understanding, has a strong awareness, has an ability to see beyond seeing, and this is just in his blood, so to speak. And so there's always things unfolding, all kinds of mysteries with Michael. And, on a side note, I'm cheating here and glancing at the biography, but I remember around Halloween, Michael told me that he went to an event and he was scaring people. That was part of the event. And I thought, oh my God, I can't handle an event like that, even if I know it's somebody, dressed up like a ghost or whatever, and they're not really going to chase me. I can't handle it. And so we had a lot of laughs like that because, if you want to be a paranormal investigator, then you got to get out there, right? Whereas me doing energy medicine work, it's all here. But that biological part, I find really fascinating. And it reminds me of folks like Jessica Jones and the Cryptid Huntress. And that's what I'm saying. Michael is very easy to relate and fit into any storyline, really. So Michael's experienced time travel twice in his life. Let us know in the comments if you can relate. And Rosie, she's got her tail in my face here. He's wondering about others and how you relate to his stories, traveling to astral realms, higher dimensions, day in, day out, in the nighttime. He's been to all different kinds of worlds. It's honestly hard to keep track. And it's a relief, really, that Michael's writing these books so he can get this down. He's helped friends and families in this space and other spaces and dimensions. He's known for reading tarot on occasion, is a Reiki master, and he uses his knowledge from Reiki to help him. So I think that's really cool. And I do that too. Like, I mean, I've got a lot of life skills training behind me that I don't offer those services, but to help me directly with my energy medicine practitioner work and also with my hypnotherapy. So the Awakening series is published. It's available, Amazon KDP, to you. If you look in the description, I put some links there. And so it is my pleasure, an absolute thrill to bring Michael to this stage. Here he is right now. A big, big welcome to you, Michael. I hope everybody can see us okay. And how are you doing, Michael?
I'm doing well, actually, and looking at getting book 4 ready and everything, and realizing it's December, the end of the year, and got a lot of stuff I gotta get ready.
Yes, like I feel like it was just yesterday. Dragon Dreamers Michael was telling me that he's going to publish a book, and I was like, finally, good, because I just met him in the summer, and it was very clear to me he had lots of information to share. And now it's like all of a sudden there's 2 more books out there, and really at heart, I'm not surprised, and that's what's fascinating because we have so much story medicine to share that folks like Michael and myself, and Tilly Treadwell as well, who has been on this show, I wouldn't be surprised if she started publishing book after book after book, because really the first book is probably this big, right? And we break it down and we organize it by themes. And so it's just such a thrill. And so we're in December. What's pushing you? Like, are you like in a rush to get book 4 out there, or what is the next step for you?
I wouldn't say I'm in a rush to get it out, but there are certain dates that have meaning to me, and
Right.
so I'm looking at doing my best to, on the date or close to the date, publish the book for personal reasons. So book 4, I'm hoping will be December 7th. And not because it's Pearl Harbor Day, but because that was my grandmother's birthday. And so I thought it would be a nice, tribute for a book to be published on her birthday or close to it.
That's very sentimental. And does she make an appearance in these books at all, or in your dreams, or is this just kind of like a separate, kind of in memory of your grandmother?
She's one of my guides, so she helps me out with things here and there, and so it's kind of like a tribute as well as just an acknowledgement of personal attachment.
Yes. And was your grandmother, like, did you meet her in this waking life? Was she
Yes.
deceased before you were born? Oh, okay. Nice. Nice. That's very special. My mom's birthday is on the 3rd, so we're going to have tacos. I was just thinking grandma because that's Rosie's grandmother. So important dates. Wow. Wow. And I can relate to that too. Like I said, folks, Michael's very relatable. My books, I would like to publish the Dragon Dreams Oracle. And I want to do that before December 21st, because December 21st is the official first day of winter. Not to put a timestamp on it, but it would be nice if it was available for the season of dreams, right?
Right.
So, I don't know. So we got some folks here in the audience tuning in with us. A big, big welcome to you. And Tony Ann, welcome to you because I've seen you following me around. Beanie Boy 777. And then we've also got, 1292, Stan Luna. So welcome to people who are tuning in. So, Michael, what's big difference, just in a nutshell at glance, the difference between book 2, book 3, and book 4? And I've got the books here. I just tend to get excited and ahead of myself. So let me rewind for a moment here, and then I'll let Michael take over a bit more. Big, big congratulations to Michael, because there's 2 more books available in the Awakening series. And I wanted to take a moment to thank Michael for his story medicine before I got carried away, as I tend to do, because it's really important. I know what it's like, to be that kid. I was born in 81, and you hear these stories. And then when I experienced a paranormal story, it just, this was before the internet, and it would have been very powerful. Somebody like myself seeing somebody like Michael on TV talking about his experiences. And so when people share out, it helps others share out, and especially children. This is all my content is not for children. Why? Because I don't want to hear it from the parents. But like all my content, is targeted for everybody, really, at heart, and children, because children, everything is a big deal to them, right? And so if they're trying to tell you something like paranormal experience, or like they're getting bullied in school, or it's confusing to like stand up for yourself, those themes, and they're struggling with that, and you push them off, well, then when they get older and they have like these big themes going on, why would they go to you? Why would they talk to you, right? And so there's a real powerful element to story medicine. And so thank you, Michael. I want to show the audience a picture of 2 and 3. I have them here. There we go. The Awakening, A Journey into the Metaphysics, and the artwork is by Selena Ingles. Here's another one. This is book 3, The Awakening, A Journey of Hidden Disclosures. My contacts are dry. So, like, Michael, if I could only buy one book, tell us a little bit about the themes. Like, what are the make or breakers between book 1, 2, and 3? Book 1, we spent a lot of time on last time. Why don't you just give us a little recap, and then I'll just leave this here so people can see that.
Sure. So
I'm new to StreamYard, those of you. I'll remove myself so it's Michael in the cover here. How about that?
So book 1 is the paranormal side of my life. And so if you are interested in the unexplained and podcast show the energy that surrounds us and paranormal verses, that I talk about that mostly in book 1, which was my journey from before I was a paranormal investigator to current time. So I have more stuff coming, so be aware that this isn't the end of the journey, it's just a part of it. And so book 2 actually is a journey of hidden discoveries. And this book is my 3-year journey into discovering about the secret space programs and other esoteric topics or hidden topics. So if that's your interest, then this book I feel like would be resonating with you, because I only share my personal memories and experiences. I don't share what other people have shared with me, because if I don't resonate with it or able to validate it, I don't count it, so to speak. So this is my personal journey. And then
We're going to read samples too, everybody. So don't worry. But just a little bit more context, Michael. Like, are you in a space program in this book? Are you? What kind of roles do you have in there?
so a couple of the roles that I have is I can transplant myself from here to other worlds and work with other beings and doing work from peace treaties to helping them with stuff going on, or on occasion there's fighting wars, in which case we can get injured or die, but they have a means to heal us and bring us back. And so it's an ongoing process, and a lot of it happens in the astral realms. And so that's where I've started to feel that's the real world, and this is just a simulation or dream world. And so I talk about it in the book, and it's where I share my, like, I have a memory that I was going to read and share with you. And the reason I do it is because it's a memory that I was not able to place. And then I talked with some people and they couldn't place it either. Then I did some research and I was like, oh, this sounds like this program. So apparently I'm in this program. And so that's how it unfolded for me. And so there are memories that I share that I'm like, is this related to the programs? I don't know. It sounds like it, feels like it, but I don't know. And so I leave it up to the reader as well to go, is this or isn't it? And part of the confusion around it is because I grew up metaphysical, so a lot of it I view as metaphysical work, not program work, but they seem to be intertwined. So I do my best to keep them separate so you don't get confused and be like, wait, why are we talking metaphysics and this? And going, no, this isn't metaphysics. This is different. And so I do my best, and that's the somewhat of a headache that I get with memories is sorting which are metaphysical, which aren't.
That was great information. And thanks, Tony Ann, for the sound check note. You know, I got to pause myself when you're talking, because then when you're talking, I'm recording by accident your voice. I think that's what's going on. So, folks out there, if the sound is weird, it's probably me. Just I'll try to remember that. That was really great information, Michael. I was making notes while you were chatting because I was wondering, like when you said injured or died and they heal you, okay, I get that. But it's like, are you in avatar form? Are you in a dream form? What about the biological one known as Michael? You know what I mean? Like, and then the way you ended it, you kind of answered my question, but the way you answered it is basically you don't have an answer. The answer is it's open. You don't know. And even yourself, I hear a lot of me in you, because you know, in my book series, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, right? So I have to go on to the internet sometimes and I watch scary movies and try and find a language and a common ground without getting confused or influenced about what actually happened to me, or you know what I mean? And so that was very powerful. And when you mentioned peace treaties, that really struck me too, because um, like, yeah, I also thought about like project this book, project that book, blue book, black book, project Atlantis. Like there's so many acronyms and whatnot. And I'm wondering if your dream world or your um, information that comes to you, if it's provided like a solid acronym or a symbol where it's like reoccurring, and I don't know. Any insight on that?
That would be too easy. No. The memories come as like pictures or movies playing out, and then I just have to take and remember them, look at them, study them, and be like, oh, where does this fit? What does this fit into? What does this relate to? And if I can relate it to something, great. Now I know it's project related. If I can't, I'm left to wonder, is it project or is it metaphysical? And I want to go and address your question about, what we call ourselves out there, like what form we take. We call them alters. They're different timelines or different aspects of us. So the term that's been floated around the most is alter. And we actually were discussing, I was with another couple of people, and we were discussing, the issue of alters versus the real. And we all assume the form we're in right now in this space is our real form, but we don't know that. We could be an alter and our real form is somewhere out there. And so it begs the, and it puts an interesting perspective into things of, we assume we're the main entity known as Michael or Gina, and we may be alters to our true self, living out an existence mission here. And so that's where, as a friend put it in the programs, this is a really big mind warp because, yeah, you can get lost in a rabbit hole amongst rabbit holes doing this, and you got to be in a good headspace to do this because it can get very strange very quick. And so, yeah, it's interesting how we can take an entire lifetime of 20 years and condense it into 5 minutes here. That's where the term 20 and back comes from, is we did a life of 20 years doing mission work, completed it, came back, and in this reality, 5 minutes has passed. That's the technology they have, and our memories are wiped, so we can only remember what bleeds through. And in talking with other people, sometimes memory gets triggered and you're like, oh, and you'll remember that way.
Yeah, that was very insightful. I was taking lots of notes. I tend to tuck a lot of thoughts away and then I forget them. So I try to take some notes. Yeah, like super soldier programs and whatnot, whether it's called that, whether it's government or not, since ancient times, people have been messing around with science and technology and bodies and really pushing the limits. And um, you know, when you talk about alters and like who's who, right? And in a novelty sense, I was thinking about Mad TV years ago, making fun of a movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger about clones, and there's like a clone baby, and that's the thing, they don't know who is who, and then it turns out like the clone, in all seriousness, believes that he's the real guy, but really he's the clone, and so they make fun of this, right? But like those things are not funny anymore. Those things are like, whoa, this is actually lending, like your book, it's lending a form, an image, and a structure that we can process to provide us with this information. And it makes us feel uncomfortable because there's a lot of stories out there that people are telling that are not true. And yet we know there's lots of stories people are telling that are true. And we know that we have our own stories that we can't explain. And I took notice something just for the sake of mentioning it, because even though somebody like myself has had spiritual experiences my whole life and whatnot, it's only the past few years that I'm starting to not watch scary movies, but starting to be open to some of the language and ET categories and whatnot, just so I can have a common ground and know what I'm working with here, right? And I swear, in all seriousness, when I hear the word altar, I thought an actual altar, like the church altar. And so I was picturing like, something special, like a candle, and you have like a rock that represents you, and you do something special, create a story map with it, a sand painting, something spiritual. That's not what it means at all. But I was wondering, like, have you ever heard of, instead of like altar in the way that I'm talking about, where you would like worship and honor like the little statue that's you every day, because that statue is like the biological you, and then you, the spirit, you get to go off and have fun. I'm having a hard time explaining this, and that's another reason why story medicine is important, because it helps us digest what we're saying. um, how do you determine an alter from a clone, from a biological? What are clues?
So alters are our clones. They're the same. They're interchangeable. And so how it works is me being here right now talking with you could be the main version. But now on another timeline, I could be in a meeting talking about, oh, we're going to, be building this building here and it's for this purpose. Well, that's an altar on another timeline, and it knows of me. I don't really know how much we connect and interconnect, and how much our alters know of us or the main knows of us. But we also, though, this is going to really mind warp some people, is the term doppelganger. Those are clones that we feel are our alters that are operating here on this world at the same time. But the catch is the race or the military that's running that clone program is very careful not to have the main and an alter or another alter meet another alter in the same space. And an example of that was, I was picking up clothes from my mom's store because she hurt her shoulder. And when I walked in, the store clerks are like, "You're back." And I said, "I just got here." They go, "No, you literally just left 10 minutes ago." They said there was an exact copy of me in the same store 10 minutes apart. And that trip, I had a little bit more traffic than normal, so I was actually later than I was supposed to be in my plan. So I now think of it as, oh, so the powers that be manipulated everything around to make it so my doppelganger alter could do what it needed to do, I could do what I needed to do, and we never cross paths.
You forgot I was muted. I was like, yes, good, but you couldn't hear me. That's really great information. And the thing about doppelgangers, like the first time I heard about that was back in 2006. I was teaching English in South Korea, never heard of a doppelganger in my life. And my friends and I, we went to the IMAX and we were watching some planet Earth, people going mountain climbing, deep sea diving, whatever. And then all of a sudden, I saw myself on the big screen. And I was just having this moment like, what? Like, how is that me on TV? And then I turned here to like, tell my friend, and the whole row of my friends was looking at me and they're like, that's your doppelganger. And I'm like, what? And it was just like freaky, right? And so I'm like, wow, there's some other Gina explorer out there. Um, so something else you said that caught my attention was I relate to that because there's these different Ginas that I connect with. They're all different ages, mostly children, and they're all fragments, part of me. And so I was going to ask you, do you think or feel or have a sense of knowing that those fragments of you became fragmented because of trauma? And basically, if using myself as an example, I'm all one, right? But then when there was a trauma, oh, now I'm branched out alter age 7 Gina. And now there's another trauma branched out over there. And so would you consider those to be alters, or is that a different level now that we're talking about? Is an
That's a
alter a
tricky
fragment, to
question.
clarify?
That's a tricky question because it could be, but at the same time, under metaphysics,
Mhm.
it could be something else. So, an
Right.
altar is created by a trauma schism where your consciousness is ripped from your body and then downloaded into that clone. And it goes and does what it needs to do, is trained to do what it's need to be done. So, an example is I could have an altar that's a trained assassin. I can have an altar that's a trained monk. I can have an altar that's, multi-billionaire.
Right.
I can have a, super soldier altar. I can have a werewolf altar. They're not limited just to human.
Yes.
And we, so altars, because of the way we are, the term is schismed, we can operate in any time. So I, knowing about the werewolf altars, for example, I was talking with someone and I was like, so the legends of the werewolves here on the planet, I'm starting to feel like they're us and we created those legends by getting witnessed when we weren't supposed to be witnessed, and that's why there's no real like tangible evidence, but people have claimed seen. And this person that was channeling said that is correct, that we did create the myth and lore of the werewolf here on the planet by people witnessing and not understanding what they're seeing. And I was like, so now I wonder how many things in this world that are unexplainable throughout history are because of the programs, and it lays a whole new dimension to it. And and thinking about what you were asking too is, the body is a really powerful machine and the mind is as well. And so the reason I say that could be program or it could be metaphysical is, in the metaphysical, for you to process what you're going through, your mind can splinter and create a version that will turn around and help you guide yourself through a traumatic experience, in which case that's you helping you. It's not an alter form of you. here. And so that's where, like, it becomes confusing who's doing what, because it is possible an alter can come and help, but it also could be your own self helping yourself in a way that it makes sense by creating an imaginary friend, so to speak, version of yourself that'll
Yeah.
help you through it.
That happens in your books. That's basically what your books are about. It's about you and your real life and how this is all bridging together,
It is.
you know? And thankfully, Michael's here to give us this insight, because I don't get hung up on it. I did fall down the rabbit hole a number of years ago where I was like, I need to know every category and how everything works. And I let it all go, and that's part of my story medicine, is just, taking it in for what it is. I feel like as a paranormal investigator and also writing your own material, you can't help but weave between the medicine wheel and all the power animals, because everything that you're saying has to do with all of them. Like hummingbird in particular, rising to the level of art, hummingbird associated with images. That came to me a lot when you were talking, and just like lots of connections there. I'm noticing Sergi. I have translate on Facebook, but I don't understand your comment. If you can put it in English, or if there's a translator there, I'd love to read it. I hope it's appropriate.
It looks Russian, so
Does it look
I'm not
Russian?
sure.
Looks pretty cool, anyways. And thank you, everyone who's able to tune in live. What I want to do before I forget too is ask Michael this right here. Where did it go? Because it's still. Oh, maybe I'm in the way. Am I in the way? Is that why it's not? There it is. So the crystals, like, where are you in this picture? Is this like just like a general picture, or is this a certain scene where it's like, where are you? Tell us about this.
Okay, I'm glad you asked that, because there is hidden symbology in
Oh,
every cover. And so Selena does really good at taking what I'm envisioning and bringing it into reality. And so this cover with the metaphysics, the crystal is symbology of knowledge that we're tapping into. And so it's not a place, but there are crystal caves and crystals all over this planet that contains information and energy that we can tap into and use. And so when I was visualizing metaphysics and a journey into it, I was trying to think what would be an image that would relate to people about that. So I had used AI to create images to work with, and what we decided in the end was this crystal that's sharing energy with me, and the stars above is to show that this is not physically here, it's out there, it's in the mind, it could be anywhere, but it's showing tapping into wisdom. And so that's the story behind that cover. And the
just before you tell us about the third book, because we will get there. I noticed too, like the man on this cover, like that's you. But then this other book, the first one, look how young you are. So just at glance, like book one and then book two, like how old would you say you are in, like, represented in this book compared to the second one?
so in the first book, I would say I would be in my late 30s, early 40s is when I started really getting into it. And metaphysics I've actually always been into, but when we think about metaphysics and learning, we think of people as elders. So we were going by the fact that I have more white hair than, in the first cover, actually. And we were just kind of trying to show a difference of the spiritual, paranormal side and being here on Earth. So this one, we decided to make myself look like the elder knowledge that I have and that I've grown and have wisdom of ages that I can tap into, so to speak. And so that was the idea behind that. And if you notice on the second cover, this one is so this cover has hidden symbology of the fact of I have memories of being on Mars, and the lightsaber sword that I'm carrying is mine from the Orion Wars. And I actually hid it on Mars and went back with the help of a friend to get it back. And so Mars is a key area for me. So we had half of the cover being Mars, and the other half is a cave with a lady in it, because it shows, for the intention of the book, is where is information usually found that's been hidden? Well, they're in caves. People go into caves and come out enlightened. So we were using this to represent going into a cave and coming out, and that we work with different star beings and stuff and other races. And so it looks like a spirit in the back, but it's actually a being that's sharing information. And so each cover has multi-layered design around what the material is covering. So with this being the hidden discoveries of being in the secret space programs and other esoteric knowledge that I've been tapping into and studying, we made the cover look more fitting for that. And book 4, I can share. I don't have a picture of the cover yet. We're still working on it, but it's going to be a much different cover with more hidden symbology in it. And I'm not quite sure if I'm going to make myself recognizable or not, because it's going to be a much younger version of me. Because book 4, I will tell you all now. I will be back on December 22nd to talk about it on this show. But this book is my personal life from birth to current. So it's not going to be the paranormal side of me. It's not going to be the metaphysical side of me, the esoteric side of me. It's going to be my life's journey growing up here on Earth. And so I'm kind of excited to share some of what I've learned and what I've come through at different stages of my life. And I will tease that book 4 will actually be the only book in the series that has a table of contents and chapters. So it's actually divided into chapters because of how I wrote it. So I'm hoping it'll be a fun, in-depth read and everybody will enjoy it. But
Maybe it'll have page numbers too.
nope, no page numbers.
Does 2 and 3 have page numbers? I know book 1 doesn't.
I don't do page numbers because I have the mindset of when I'm reading a book, if I look and I know it's a 120 pages and I'm reading and I'm getting into it, but I look down and notice I'm on page 30, I'm like, oh my God, there's a whole lot more to this book. And I
Yeah.
start getting in the mindset of, oh my gosh, is this going to end?
Mhm.
Where since it's written as a journey, I'm like, as long as there's no page number, you just keep turning and going. Is it going to end? Are we going to keep going? And it's like an adventure in itself.
Yeah. There's a beginning, a middle, and an end. Maybe you should do that. Part 1, part 2, part 3 instead.
I might
I
write
think
it into a script and make it a movie.
you could do that. I'm trying to make mine into a movie. So, you know what? It's just a matter of finding somebody to do it right. And I'm sure lots of people who are publishing books are going to start making all kinds of movies because the technology is available now. And it's fun, once you get the hang of it. I always have so many more questions for you. We've been talking though for about 50 minutes. We still have to read. But I was just thinking to myself, like, yeah, you might, um, you know, find yourself in werewolf form or something like that, but also the fact that we make up the stories of the monsters because we are the monsters. Life is like Scooby-Doo. The monster's always, pulling off a mask. It turns out it's not a monster and it's us. And just alchemically throughout history, like it's possible that we're the vampires because everything started in the darkness, and then when there was light we couldn't bear it, right? And so it's interesting how these timelines weave together. But that's why we have to keep having Michael come back here. And what's nice too is because you're a returning guest, we don't have to spend so much time reiterating information. People will catch the replays, and then we'll just get into a nice routine where you come on here and we do a quick recap and get busy reading, which was my intention today, but I just couldn't help but chat away. So if we start with book 1, are you going to read first or is my part first? I wasn't sure. Both of Michael and I are reading today.
Well, I can read from the Hidden Discoveries book first, and then you can read your part, and then we'll read from book 3.
Yep. I cut and paste it, so I just have to cut and paste it into the teleprompter. Hopefully it's in the right order. So, Dragon Dreamers, enjoy Michael Kopf for you reading from his own book. Again, you can find the link in the description. You can order it. Amazon's really great. You could have it by tomorrow, possibly. And I'm going to remove myself from this stage and then I will return. So take it away, Michael. And thank you so much again for your story.
Thank you. And so this is from A Journey of Hidden Discoveries. This is, I have a memory from which I was a preteen and again as a teenager, which is something I can't explain. It is a memory that I can't place, but I know is me. The memory is something I will try and explain here. In my memory, I am being summoned up to my fleet of ships in space watching over some stargates. I arrive out of body onto the ship and walk onto the bridge. I address the officer in charge and ask what I was summoned for. The officer proceeds to share with me that there is a gate activity that is unable to stop, and there is no response. This is against galactic law, and therefore I look at the officer and I say, I will deal with this, and thank you for bringing this to my attention. I walked on the ship to a room that had led to the top of the ship. I changed into a special suit that was designed just for me. The suit was a bluish color and had no markings, but was very form-fitting. I did not wear gloves or a helmet with it. My boots naturally fit to my feet, and adhered to whatever surface I walked on. I then make myself appear on the top of the ship in space. I look back and see the planet Earth below and behind me. What a sight to see from space. I do this every time I enter space. I walked on the ship with no effects from being in space and stopped when I reached a certain spot. I sensed what was coming through the Stargate and determined what the next course of action is. I oversee this fleet, and protecting this Stargate and region of space has been my responsibility. I determined that these ships were not cleared for this and raised my arm. I held my hand up and energy formed around my hand. I then sensed the Stargate open and activate. I used my psionic powers to stop the ships from traveling further. I then seen each ship that was entering or had entered into the space before me glow like my hand. I then sent these ships to another dimension where the people of that dimension would take care of those ships. I then used my psionic ability and shut down the Stargate. The ship still in transit and now stuck between where they came from and here until I open the gate and let them travel into this space. Even if another ship uses the same Stargate, those ships are trapped and will remain trapped. This is a safeguard put in place to protect the trading lanes and shipping lanes used by benevolent star beings. With the area secured, I turn around, place myself back into the room where I put on this nano suit. I change back into my normal clothes for being on ship and walk to the bridge. I went to the sensor officer and bridge officer and asked both of them for a status update. They assured me no more ships were coming through and the Stargate was secured. I thanked them both and returned to my body on Earth. I then proceeded to go about my day, only with a couple of minutes missing from my day. I also have memories of commanding ships in orbit in order to assist mankind and prevent dark, low-frequency races from interfering on this planet. The fleet is one of many fleets in outer space, and few know of them all, and all are classified for their protection and for the protection of those who command the fleets from here on Earth. So that is one of my memory adventures, and the beauty of that memory is while researching, I found out there's a program in the space program, secret space program, called Solar Warden, which are the protectors of the space. And so, in discovering that, I figured out I must be a part of Solar Warden because my memory seems in line with what they do. So that's how I put those two connections together.
Oh, that was really fascinating, and when you read it, it just seems so like natural and casual that these experiences are happening. But I wonder, um, was there a sense of fear or uncertainty, or is this like it just seems very flowy, like you know what you're doing, you're comfortable in your own skin in these other realms. Is that what you're hoping readers are inferring when you're sharing out?
That's a good question. I haven't thought about that. I'm sharing for me, it's like normal for me to go up, interact with them on the ships, see what's going on, and then come back here and do what I'm doing here. And so for me, it's comfortable. Do I think it's going to be comfortable for everybody? Not at first.
Mhm.
At first, there's going to be the, oh my God, seeing Earth for the first time in space. Everyone has that moment. And
Mhm.
the fact of being out of body is something too that a lot of people will need to adjust to. I naturally go in and out of body, so it wasn't much for me to be comfortable with it.
Right.
I think the more interesting part for me was just noticing, like, I felt like I needed to point out I wasn't wearing gloves or a helmet in space because
Oh, yeah.
everybody's going to be like, well, yeah, you're walking in a NASA spacesuit. No, it wasn't. Eh, I was totally fine. No,
Yes.
energy keeping me safe.
Yes.
And that was something like, in noticing it, going, yeah, stuff that I take for granted, going, yeah, that's normal for me being in space in that outfit. Well, the reader doesn't know that, and so it's like I feel like I need to take a little extra to show this and show,
Think so? I don't think so, Michael. I think it sounds very natural, normal. That's why I asked, because you didn't mention, like, now this is happening and I feel terrified. Like, you didn't go down that road. So, if you want readers to get that message, I'm getting that message. So I wouldn't make any announcements about it. I think it comes across really great like that. And that's why we have to have these conversations, like seeing Earth for the first time in space. Like, yeah, like, I mean, I have this one reoccurring dream. I go far, I go far all the time, but I'm always like in the neighborhood, so to speak. But this one dream, I don't know what happens, but it's like being inside a kaleidoscope, and it flips and flops and shifts and rotates. And I don't know where the hell I am. And I'm so far. I didn't even think to look back. I just know planet Earth is like not there. Like, it's one thing to see planet Earth behind you, but to like not see planet Earth and not know where you are, and there's no like Orions, and just trusting where you are. I find that very fascinating. I'm going to read my little part, and story species, story medicine. I aimed for it to be an hour, but clearly it's going to have to be like an hour and a half show. And then you're on demand, Michael. You're going to be hosting somebody else tonight. Okay, so I'm going to remove Michael, and or Michael, you can stay on the stage with me while I read it. Why would I remove you? You're this. Okay. Here we go on the teleprompter. All right. So this is from the same books, folks. This is from book 2. Growing up, I would have strange ideas, and whoa, this teleprompter is on fast forward. Let me restart that because I want to do this some justice here. And if you're looking to level up, make sure you check out Stream here. There's a link there. Thankfully, this is easy to navigate. It's familiar, just like Michael's dream. All right. Growing up, I would have strange ideas that would pop into my head and no idea why I would be thinking of them. One example was that I would not spit on the ground or in a trash can, only in toilets, sinks, or swallow it. I did not want my DNA to be taken without my consent. I know this seems strange, and as a kid, um, I can say that, but this was my reality when I was in elementary school until high school. I would think to myself that someone will come along and clone or use my DNA without my consent because I felt different from others. I also had a fear of going to the doctor for any minor injury because I was worried they would discover something about me and turn me into an experiment. I was worried the doctors would find out how fast I can heal and experiment on me to replicate the ability. I thought it had something to do with my blood growing up. these were irrational fears, examples of irrational fears that I had to overcome, and now realize it was my subconscious mind warning me of something from the past. Little did I know that those irrational fears were just the start of my unfolding. And I love that last sentence, my unfolding. Like, like now the movie's gonna start and Michael's gonna be like, smoke coming from his feet and off he goes somewhere on some exciting journey. And so that's well written, and I like it because you know what, like when I was a kid, I was concerned that I was part gorilla. I shit you not, because I'm on the hairy side, okay? And I don't know what happened. Like I had a lot of peach fuzz, and then all of a sudden in like grade like 1, grade 2, it just whoa, and it was black. And I remember being scared. And I remember one time my cousins are like 10 years older than me, they're over, and they're old enough to drink and stuff, right? And my dad ended up ordering hot wings. And I remember they were making comments like, "This is gonna put hair on your chest." And I remember seriously putting the hot wing down because I was scared of what it sounds so irrational. And I love spicy food, but like I remember thinking, oh my God, I better tone it down so I don't get hair off. But you know what? Like, that's why we have to share these stories, because in my childhood, when we would play games with kids, you'd have to hold hands and stuff like that. Some of like you wouldn't catch me dead in short sleeves or tank tops, right? So some of the kids, it was like a secret. I'd show them my hairy arm. Oh my God. And then they would feel uncomfortable holding my hand because they were genuinely scared that it might pass on to them or something like that. And so I couldn't imagine being like you're in your shoes where you think something's wrong with your blood, and even just doing something like a haircut, like that didn't even cross my mind. It didn't cross my mind. It was probably for the best, right? Probably a good thing. But like, that's scary, you know? And I believe, I don't, it's just my own personal belief that there are experiments going on, government and non-government, um, trying to get like gorillas, because they're very powerful, to fight for us, to train them to fight for us. That was an experiment that took place. And then also trying to like clone people with stronger species like a gorilla. And so in my child mind and evolution, it just, all of that came together. It was confusing. It was scary. And then when 2 angels came out of my wall, no wonder that pushed me over the edge and I ended up in the special education classroom. Right. So like, we can laugh, right? But wasn't that long ago, there was a little girl that was scared, and there was a little boy out there who was scared, like I don't know. What are your thoughts, Michael?
Well, what's actually, you're going to find this kind of funny, is I had never thought about haircuts. And so now I'm sitting there thinking, oh my God, you're right. Getting a haircut would be putting my DNA on the ground.
That Band-Aid you put in the garbage.
So yeah, I'm like, wow, I didn't think, I always thought about it. Either it came from DNA, came from the blood, or from saliva. I didn't think about the hairs. And so, yeah, I was always comfortable getting the haircuts, but now it's like, I'm like, oh, maybe that's how they did it.
That's the child mind, right? That's the child mind. Like, what if you and I were back in time and we were in the same classroom, and you had a drink and I snuck a drink from it. Like, am I now possibly stealing your DNA? And then now I'm going to go spit, and because I have your spit in my mouth, kind of thing. Like, kids behave like that, Wow. Wow, wow, wow. And only in toilets, right? Because you see, the mind's number one job is to protect. And really, just kind of going back to a comment you made earlier about animals and how, in these past lives, we're not always presented as the Homo sapien sapien form, which could freak people out too, right? But in the natural world, when I think about the predation cycle and the food chain and how it all works, symbiotic relationships, I think about water when you say toilets. And for animals to cover their tracks, what do? They walk the water, right?
Right.
And what are you doing? You're disposing things in the water. Like there was some kind of intuitive give it to the water, and the water will protect you because it will protect the scent. It wasn't just about DNA. I feel like there's a storyline there where you were being protected, some kind of feminine divine energy, I don't know, water connection. So now in this life, in your childhood, you're like, you got to spit, but you're like in the water, like in the toilet, right? Because I could see you as a kid swimming, and there you are in the water, and there's like, water gets in your mouth or whatever, that's fine. But if you were out of the water as a kid and for some reason you started drooling because you were eating sour candies, like maybe that would make you uncomfortable and you would grab a napkin without even thinking, this way of knowing. Or maybe you would run to the sink and splash water on your face. And so I wonder if what I'm saying right now in this moment is triggering you in a positive way, just bringing back memories, or maybe tonight, the next month, you'll have dreams. Keep me updated, because that's another reason why story species, story medicine is so important, because I believe that you're in my dreams too, and I'm in your dreams. And it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when we're going to be like, that's you in my storyline. That's you in my storyline, right?
Right. And in full honesty, the reason I would spit in water sources is because in my mind, the water would corrupt the DNA sample so they couldn't use it. And so somehow, as like elementary school, and I'm talking like grade 1, 2, 3, I had enough knowledge in my head to go, if I want to get rid of this DNA sample from my mouth, I got to put it in water, because water will break it down and make it non-viable. And I sit here as an adult and I'm like, what kid at that age knows about DNA and knows about what breaks it down, and if it does in fact break it down? And so that's where it's like, I'm like, that's why I call it irrational, because no kid should rationally be thinking about this.
Yes, and just for folks tuning in there, Michael and I are in the same age group. This was before Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park came out later on when we were like in grade, 7, 8, something like that. So those kind of conversations weren't really happening. Sometimes I feel like we need to even remind ourselves, so the creativity and ways of knowing really coming through.
Yeah.
Right? So.
Well, and a funny thing too, as you bring up Jurassic Park, when I would watch those movies, I'd always be like, why are you creating the meat eaters? The herbivores that won't kill us are so cool. Why are we doing the meat eaters that want to kill us?
I know. I have dreams about dinosaurs too that they're not even published yet. I still have a suitcase here. But if you're okay with it, Michael, are you okay sticking around for another 20 minutes or so?
Sure.
Do you have time to read that other passage?
I can.
Okay. And I think from now on, I'll just make story species, story medicine. This is the 8th episode, an hour and a half, because you know what? Takes time to read, and then I like to digest things. I can't help it, like the teacher in me. Random connections, like the toilet, the flushing, the water, stories that come up, like me and my hairy body and the fear of getting hairier because of hot wings, like that kind of stuff. And the joy that comes from sharing stories and the ability to look back and laugh at ourselves is really important to me.
Yeah.
So thank you again,
laugh,
Michael. Oh,
I have one
that's
of my
good.
own from that.
What did you say? I was talking over you.
Sorry, I was saying you laugh about, with you and the hot wings and the hairy chest. I had a similar one where somebody told me if I eat the seeds of a watermelon, it'll grow a watermelon in my stomach.
What you got to do is wait for a pregnant woman to walk by, and that's when you tell that to children eating watermelons. You see that woman over there?
She ate a lot of watermelons.
She had a watermelon. Now it's growing inside of her, Okay, well, I'm going to remove myself from the stage. This is Michael Kopf reading his own works, book 3. Here it goes. And I always feel bad for leaving. I don't know why. I'm here. I'm just in the background. But I'll
Oh,
remove
it's
myself
fine.
from the stage.
So this is book 3, Journey into the Metaphysics. This is my copy, so your copy won't have that not for resale stripe across it. But here we go. A soul family is something I want to take a moment and share what I have discovered this means to me. We all have brothers, sisters, cousins, nieces, nephews, aunts, uncles, grandparents, adopted siblings, adopted extended families. These are family, yes, in an earthly term. A soul family are people around you that come when you need them and help pull you out of the darkness or shadows. Lift you from the darkness, feel what you are feeling, know you on a deeper level. Some soul family members may be your earthly family members. Some come in the form of friends, strangers you connect with along your journey for a while, and other deep connections. Soul families are not related by blood. They are related by energy and quantum soul energy. I use the term quantum here to describe it as energy that transcends boundaries of land, water, sky, galaxy, universe, time, and dimension. This type of family is there no matter what and is never wanting anything but you to grow and learn who you truly are. Some soul family members may have more memory than others of the connection. This is natural. When you notice someone and start to talk with them in a way that is meaningful and deep, that could most likely be a soul family member connecting in the divine right time for them and you. People come and go in your life along your journey. This is due to lessons and having people support you as long as needed. This is also explains, in my eyes, why some people seem to have deeper impact in your life for short periods or long periods of time. Learning family is more than just blood was an important lesson for me in this lifetime. Guardian angels and guides are soul family, assisting from the other side. We are always around our soul family, which makes this family a much deeper and stronger connection than our earthly family bonds. Our earthly family can come to teach us lessons, and that is why families can grow apart. One lesson is achieved and learned, they will move on, and so do you. I wanted to share that part because I think everyone gets hung up on the term family and what it means and everything, and to show that it's multi-layered and that there's other family, and so it's not limited to blood.
Absolutely. I was thinking the same thing. Something that came to my mind right away was my gemstone readings, because there's a gemstone that represents family, and it's open when I say that, and it's everything that you just said. So when I'm working with clients and this gemstone presents itself, I'll tell them it could be your Star Nation family, it could be your biological family here, it could be your work family. You know, people have different ways of knowing and understanding of what a family means. Like a brotherhood, for example, could be perceived as a family. And so what's really interesting too when you were talking was, if you want to use the word species, angels, ET, spirit guides, all of these folks are family. They're from our lineages, and that is important. And that was well read, by the way. You were nice and relaxed reading it. Any other thoughts before I read mine?
Not offhand.
I put the link there. Folks can find Michael's books. There's 3, and there's a 4th coming. I was thinking too, I really delight in this experience because, like, there's a respect thing here, right? Like, I believe and I'm open to whatever you're saying, and you're just believing and open to whatever I'm saying, and that's nice. You know, there's no cancel culture here. That didn't even occur to me until this moment, because somebody might be listening to this and think, well, I think this and that. I agree, I disagree. But you know what? That's okay. You're allowed to agree, disagree. You're allowed to have your own interpretations. That's all part of the alchemy and why story medicine is important, right? Some people might perceive an angel and an ET as the same thing, whereas for others, those are very different things. You know what I mean? Some care, some don't care. And I'm excited as your book series unfolds, the other vocabulary that might present itself. Maybe you'll present as an angel in a certain situation or something, or you'll present as the spirit guide assisting the fragmented or the alter version of you. So you've got at least 500 more books to write, you know, at least. Okay, let me read. This is from Michael's book, just to reiterate, those who are tuning in, I can't take any credit. My books are called the Dragon Dreams book series, which you can also find that link in the description. But what I'm about to read right now is from Michael's book. All right, and I think the teleprompter isn't on fast forward anymore. Some principles in the metaphysical world are not always easy to look at. Principle in the metaphysical world that I grew up with that causes some confusion and is also hard to wrap one's mind around is the mirror principle. I learned the mirror principle is that whatever you see in the person you are talking with reflects what you see in yourself. This means that if I am talking to someone and think to myself, I love how that person thinks about this subject, that means you love how you think about that subject. If you love how calm someone is that you are interacting with, you love how calm you are. Opposite is true, though. If you get upset how someone is reacting to something, you are really getting upset with how you are reacting to that something. An example of this is if you see a man playing darts and are getting upset that he is taking advantage of the other players or cheating at the game, there is a high probability somewhere in your life you are taking advantage of something or cheating somewhere and not happy about it. Simply put, watch what you like and dislike about people you interact with to gain some insight about yourself. There is no harm or reason to get upset, beat yourself up with anything dealing with the mirror effect. Another thing I am guilty of and need to be careful about is owning other people's perspectives. They are seeing something about themselves and reacting to you about it. And if not careful, it can take that on and must process something that was not even yours. Judgments are very catchy and very easy to take on or dish out. This mirror effect is a two-way street. That is key to remember. You can be calm, and if someone is seeing you as hyper or over the top, then it is that person seeing it that is truly that way, not you. It is hard for the mind to realize what we see is what we show ourselves. This is something that I still get tripped up on sometimes and is a trap sometimes too. It is a great tool to help us see our shadow side. That was very, very well written. That's great advice for anyone bullying, anybody with snobbish behavior. That is a direct reflection of their own insecurity, right? And in this business of the world showing you what's inside, because the whole universe is inside of us and it unfolds out, and we see that. There is no such thing as past, present, future. It's the now, and there's memory that we can project, and then there's the unfolding now, the alchemy. So I thought that was really good advice that you gave, and it sounded really heartfelt too and meaningful, like talking to a friend, like if I was having experiences and I was feeling freaked out and I didn't know like who to talk to, like this is a book that I could read, back when I was like 14 or something and really resonate with this. There's no big scary science words in there. It's readable, it's manageable, and it's like having, I don't want to use the word new age, but it's like really it's the ancient future, because this is old technology that sharing feelings and counseling and insight and things like energy medicine and healing compared to today's psychology, which I feel is outdated because it's missing all of these elements. So, Michael, do you have any final words for us or any insight about what I said? And thanks for listening to me. I mean, we're here to listen to you, but I just love sharing, and it's refreshing because it's not my story, it's somebody else's story. What do you think about my feedback? I don't know. What's going through your mind?
What I think was great is how you picked up on the deeper meaning of, I grew up and I would hear all the time, well, what's the positive you're seeing in them? You can't see it if you don't have it yourself. And so it was like it was another way of looking at that and making sense of it. And I liked how you were like picking up on it and being like, yeah, this is everyday life. And I so many times, will quote unquote people watch, and I'll hear people saying, oh, that person looks really great that way. And oh, it's so nice how they're doing that. And I smile inside because I'm like, well, I'm glad you're seeing yourself. But I also notice, though, I get a little sad when I then hear the follow up sentence of, I'll never be like that. And I'm like, you already are because you're seeing it. And so don't let people, or yourself talk you out of being who you are and what you are. And so that's where I was breaking down the mirror principle and trying to explain it for people so that when they are going through their daily lives and they notice little things of liking something about somebody, what they're doing, they're liking themselves. And so it's like a boost to your own self. And I wasn't trying to be like the therapist and saying, this is what you gotta. I literally wanted just for someone in their own life, in their own day, to see themselves in a new way and lift them, see how they can lift themselves up. And I always will say to people, there's always hope whenever you're feeling down about something. Well, this is what I'm talking about. This is the hope of, like you see somebody how great they are. You're seeing how great you are. What is a better gift?
Yeah, that is amazing, and I feel like book 4 is going to be a real hit because it's going to be that part of you that's the real you, like you were saying earlier, the now in this reality, and just I wonder, like, after having these conversations now, or even like laughs, about the DNA in the water, how that might even influence your writing or your reach out to the child selves or the characters, archetypes in these books presented. Um, it's really powerful, because you want people to know that it's okay to be you, right? There's never going to be another you out there, even if they tried to be you. Even if there was a clone, the clone cells, they can't hold the form. That's why clones don't last. There could never be another you. There can never be another me, and we all have a role to fulfill. Like, I just there's so many students, because I was a teacher for 20 years, right? And these kind of conversations, putting the social emotional first, believing in who you are, seeing things in the world that are in right relationship with you. I wrote that on here, in right relationship, because when you're looking at the world around you and you like what you see, you're in right relationship. When you don't like what you see all the time, you're not in right relationship. And like you said, there's something inside of you that you're not in right relationship with. And you know what? We can't control our epigenetics, right? We can't control our environments. But you know what? That's all part of the hero's journey in making those connections and doing things like moving away from home, or, leaving your environment and recognizing your worth. So really knowing your power, because it's appalling how quick others are to take others down. Why? Because they have to bring others down in order to bring themselves up. And um, we can get into conversations about narcissists, but I feel like, whether you intend to or not, your books are really powerful because there's that umbrella theme of believing in yourself. Don't give up hope. Keep the faith. Know that life alchemizes. That is, clearly I can't say enough, right? I really could go on. But,
Well, and
get
one
out
thing
there,
I'll say,
book.
and one last thing I'll say about this
And
book
mine
is metaphysics has a huge connotation to it. And so I wrote, and when I would talk about like a principle, if it was a principle term that I felt like maybe people don't understand what this is, I'd spend time to break it down. Like, I may talk about choice. Well, what does choice mean? So I put in a paragraph about what choice is, means in a metaphysical way. Or, mirror effect, I explain what it is. And so that's the thing I think is the gift I give to everyone, is not only am I sharing my journey in this, but I'm also taking and breaking it down into how I look at it and what it means to me, in the hopes that the reader, when they're reading it, can go, well, I don't necessarily agree with this, but I know what you're saying. And yes, I get it. To me, it makes more sense this way. Well, that's my goal, is to get you thinking about it and making it your own. You're muted, Virgin.
Yeah, okay, there. Sorry, I didn't realize I was muted. Because my microphone's here, and then it's like you're talking into my microphone in a double time. If anybody has any tips, let me know in the comments. Michael, thank you so much for being on Story Species, Story Medicine. Much gratitude to you. I really appreciate you. I appreciate you being on my show and sharing, and for us to see this personal side of you. Happy birthday to Grandma. It's coming soon. The 7th is on Friday. My mom's birthday. Or no, it's not on Friday. That's November.
No.
On Sunday. And my mom's birthday, the 3rd, is on Wednesday. She's still living. She's still alive.
Happy birthday to her.
I'll let her know. Thank you. In the not in the, well, I put it in the comments. In the description is what I meant to say, though. You can find the links for Michael's books. And also make sure you check out Michael's site, because he has amazing guests on his show. One of them is myself, yours truly, doing my mini gemstone readings and talking about my books. And so I think this month, Michael and I are going to see each other like 3 or 4 times, being on each other's shows. And so I'm really looking forward to that. And also, I did touch base with Selena, the one who illustrated this, Selena Ingles, and she would like to be on the show. We just got to figure out a date. So sometime in the new year, look out for the new schedule. Michael, any final thoughts?
Just keep giving into hope and keep going forward. And if you get a chance, get a gemstone reading on Wednesday, the first Wednesday. And, just keep following along, because our goal is to always bring someone or something to awareness that'll help. And you never know, if you don't put the time in to watch, you don't know what you're missing and can learn from. So we're always learning. I know our parents told us that, and we thought that would never be true, but it is, and it's a beautiful thing. So I'm going to stop rambling now.
Thank you again, Michael, for being on Story Species, Story Medicine. Everybody, Michael Kopf, thank you. Make sure you buy his book. And thank you so much again, Michael. I really enjoyed today, and I look forward to seeing you later on this month. Take care.
Yeah.